I'm walking through streets that are dead. Walking with you in my head.
Amsterdam's red light district. Thousands of tourists marvel at what in most cities is usually tucked away in obscurity. And that's not all that is unique. Women who work in Dutch brothels are from a year ago workers like any other. They have health insurance, tax numbers and holiday entitlement. The new laws apply only to prostitutes from the EU, however. Women from elsewhere can't rent a room. So goes the theory. In practice, a year after the ban on brothels was lifted, a great deal is still unclear.
Well, it's a good idea that they started it, but it didn't go far enough, because all that prostitutes know now is that they have to pay tax, and they have not been informed about their other rights and obligations. Well, the good thing, of course, is that there are environmental conditions. The work conditions can be checked. Illegal immigrants and trafficked women and underage girls can be spotted easier, of course, and being taken out of the process. The downside of this, of course, is that those that were illegal and can no longer work here have disappeared, and they haven't all gone home. They might have gone underground or have been taken underground.
Many prostitutes now work from railway stations or industrial estates, where they're at the mercy of pimps. The reason for this is that in Holland, like everywhere else in Europe, many of the prostitutes come from the former Eastern Bloc. There are fears that this illegal sector may grow very rapidly. Marieke van Doornik works for a women's group with ties to the Dutch government.
A bad thing about this is that there's much more focus on how to control and to regulate the prostitution industry in the Netherlands, and not that much focus on how to improve and change the prostitution industry in the Netherlands. And of course, a lot of improvement is needed, because it's a system where the working relations were completely out of balance, the working conditions were very bad, and women were working under a lot of pressure from the stigma, etc., etc. So a lot of things have to be changed, and the government is not putting very much effort to guide this process of change and to guide this process of improvement, and there needs to be much more done about that.
Oh, heb je die geluidsverhaal nog nodig eigenlijk?
Jan Bik has been working in the sex industry for 30 years and runs 7 brothels. He used to be a school teacher. Since the abolition of the 100-year-old ban on brothels last autumn, he and his colleague have had it tough, he complains. Before, Jan Bik could run his company unhindered. Whilst his business was in fact illegal, it was tolerated so long as he didn't cause any trouble. Now, prostitution is a legal business. He has to apply to the authorities for a license, pay for it, and always be ready for a health and safety investigation. If he doesn't fulfill the numerous conditions, he will lose his license. Legalisation is a disaster for the girls, for us, for everyone. With it, they have driven 60 to 80% of women underground. Girls in legal whorehouses will always be hounded, and the girls in the illegal whorehouses, that's to say 60%, won't have any troubles. And our brothels are already under pressure from the Mafia. Holland has said that the goal of legislation is to improve control and safety. But that's not the case. It's just sent everything further into the hands of the Mafia. Jan Bik once campaigned for legalisation, but now he believes that the government is only after the money and trying to harass the industry. For starters, they've said that the women have to cut their nails, otherwise they might break the condoms. But the girls have been doing this for 3,000 years. Whether they've got long nails, short nails. I mean, they have to be very careful. They always protect themselves. Oh yeah, and another thing. The underwear. They have to wash their underwear at 60 degrees because of the germs. What else is there? There's thousands. In Holland, around 10,000 women work regularly as prostitutes. In brothels, they can choose whether they want to be independent businesswomen or lowly staff. They have the right to turn customers away, refuse certain sexual practices, and aren't forced to take drugs or alcohol. However, neither the prostitutes nor the relevant authorities know exactly how to put the new laws into effect.
I don't know what is better for now, but for me it's better to get illegal because I don't want to get known at the tax office, you know. I want to be anonymous. And if it's getting legal, they know my name, they know my tax number, they know my SOFI number, they know everything for me.
Het brengt een heleboel mensen in de war. De
Legalisation
want de ene wet
brings
klopt wel met de
a lot
andere
of
wet
problems
en de
with
andere
it.
wet klopt weer niet met de ene wet. Dus je kan wel je
A
eigen
girl can
legaliseren,
register
maar
as a
je kan niet bij de
prostitute,
bank een eigen rekening openen.
but she'll
Omdat
have trouble
zogenaamde
opening a
prostitutie
business
in
account
verband
at a
wordt gebracht
bank
met criminaliteit,
because they still
seksueel.
associate prostitution with
Dat is alweer één
crime.
wet die
There's a
tegen-
lot of hurdles. Holland is usually a step ahead of the rest of Europe on controversial topics. You can smoke marijuana and hashish in the coffee shops. It was the first country to allow homosexual marriages, and euthanasia is legal under certain conditions.
What we call ourselves a very tolerant people. I would rather say we are very pragmatical people, and we look at several issues that in most countries cause very difficult moral problems. And in the Netherlands we say we don't want to have a solution because you cannot have a solution. You just have to find a way to deal with it. So our solution is pragmatical policies. That means it does exist and we just need a way to control and regulate it. I don't think the morals of the Dutch people is very different than from any other country. It's just the way we are dealing with it, it's different.
I'm sick of love. I wish I never met you. I'm sick of love.
The famous red windows of Amsterdam are now part of the Dutch economy. And those labelled prostitutes no longer have to stand on the fringes of society. Activists for sex workers are already pursuing a wider aim. They want to declare war on the prejudices against prostitutes.